Hello, hello, welcome back. And today we're talking about Dave Ramsey's book, The Total Money Makeover, a proven plan for financial success. So this is the book that exactly shows you on how to get in control of your money. All the steps. So if you want to finally get in control of your finances and finally have a class on money, well, this is the one. So definitely stick around. And if you see me looking down, it's because I have my notes down here that I read the book and I took out, the things that I thought were the most important. So you don't have to read the book, or I might inspire you to read it, which would be even better. And this will be more of a talking style video because I'm going to be looking down a lot. So you can just have it in the background, just listening. So let's get into it. If you will live like no one else, later you can live like no one else. My mom would tell me this all the time when I was growing up, but Dave Ramsey has it in his book too. And it's so cool because on the bottom of his book, it's on the bottom of every page. So it's like this affirmation every time. I really like that. So all of these things that I'm going to be talking about or that are in his book are super simple. You just have to do it. That's it. And that is the hardest part. But you can be disciplined and you can do it. And it can be fun. So, read testimonials to stay inspired. Listen to Dave Ramsey's talk show. He has a free talk show on the radio to stay inspired. Because that's going to be the most important step. Because usually who we are surrounded by is people who are not inspiring us to have the best money habits. So, the S&P gets about 12% a year. Some years are better, of course, other years are not. But for the long-term strategy, time of 10 plus years, it gets about a 12% return. And Dave Ramsey really likes the stock market and mutual funds. So that's what I'll be talking about because I took notes from his book. And he was saying that this book is not getting any complaints from people who do it. No one says, I got on a budget, just meaning a plan for money. Got out of debt, got on the same page with my spouse, built wealth, and I hate it. LOL. No one says that. So then he goes through talking about our ideas about money and about the economy, and he makes it really fun. So I wanted to share what he wrote about the 2008 crash. So he's saying the 2008 crash happened because people were running around buying things they couldn't afford with money they didn't have to impress people they didn't even like. People do the same today. Think of most people you know. Don't let that be you. Jim Collins, one of America's greatest business writers, wrote a book called How the Mighty Fall. And he talks about the 5 stages of decline when a business fails or falls. And it applies to your life and mine. He says the first stage is marked by hubris, pride and arrogance with a false notion of invincibility lead to the fall. Turns out the religious books were right when they say that pride goes before a fall. I just thought that was funny. Because like borrowing lots of money and not saving because my job is stable and I can afford the easy payments is what caused the 2008 crash. But both of those things are so false because your job being stable, what in the world does that mean? At your job, you can be fired at any time. Jobs are not stable. And easy payments, well, that's what's killing all of America and why all of America is in debt. Why all Americans pretty much are in debt. So, not a good idea. And then Dave tells his story, which you probably will feel too, when he was saying how he first started. And he said that every month seemed to be sitting at the same table with the same fears and problems. Too much debt and too little savings and no sense of control. And talking money with the spouse always ended in fights. And so he says, you ready to take on the person in the mirror? Because the person that's causing all of your problems is you. Control it, control the person in the mirror, and you can be skinny and rich. Because he's saying that some of you are so immature, you are unwilling to delay pleasure for a greater result. And he's saying, I'm here to show you it doesn't have to be painful, and it will make life bliss later on. And no more worrying about money. says your situation isn't your parents' fault. It isn't your spouse's fault or anyone else's. It's your fault. And this is liberating, actually, because that means you can do something about it. So look in the mirror. The mirror is harsh. You see flab, but don't go into denial. 90% of fixing your financial problems is recognizing you have a problem. Most people are okay being financially flabby. When you get laid off, you're not seeing your sucked-in self anymore. You finally see the real thing in the mirror. The fat car, the overloaded payments, the bloated credit cards. The enemy of the best is not the worst. The enemy of the best is just fine. Change is painful, and most of us won't change until it becomes a must. And I know that is how it was with me. Because I knew I was going to be eating right and all this stuff, but it didn't happen until I got certain issues that started happening, where I finally was to be healthy, to be able to get up without pain, to be able to have, my eyes feeling good and moist instead of all this crazy stuff that was happening, to have my hair grow back, all of this stuff, I had to eat right. And I didn't do it until I had to. So most of you guys can probably be smarter than me and not wait till you have to do something. But a lot of people don't change until they have to. So make the decision that you are going to change before you hit rock bottom. Because most people say I want it. Toddlers do that. As a mature person, grow out of it. A lie told often enough becomes truth. Lenin or one of those Russians said that. And we believe it. Culture sells that debt is the way to go. That student loan, car payment, mortgage, is good. And do it. Did you fall for it? Most Americans do. People think debt is needed to win. And so they will probably make fun of you using these principles in Dave's book. But do it anyway. Because they've been lied to. Just think, why are most financial professors broke? It's because they believe the lies culture tells that debt is good. So let's go through some myths and truths. Myth: debt is a tool and should be used to create prosperity. Truth: debt adds considerable risk, especially for the average person, even doing real estate. You have to be really savvy to make it work out in real estate, But all other places, debt is a fool, debt is bad. Many people are led to complete ruin with debt, especially doodad debt. Proverbs 22 verse 7 says, "The rich rule over the poor. The borrower is slave to the lender." I don't want you guys to be slaves. Most of us are against slavery, and then we enslave ourselves just because it's more, you can't see the chains, and yet they're even more real than ever. If you want to be skinny, do what they do. If you want to be rich, do what the rich do. Not what some naysayer says or someone who doesn't have what you want. Henry Ford thought debt was a lazy man's method to purchase items. And he thought it so much so, Ford didn't offer financing until 10 years after General Motors did. Now, of course, both Ford Motor Credit is the #1 profit of Ford Motors operations. It's the biggest profit center. The old school saw the folly of debt. The new school saw opportunity to take advantage of the consumer with debt. Myth: if I loan money to friends or relatives, I am helping them. Truth: if I loan money to them, the relationship will be strained or destroyed. It's fine to give, but don't expect anything back. And most of us do, so be careful. Weird things happen when money is involved, so take this seriously. If someone needs help, give the money to them. But don't borrow money to them, because they probably will not pay it back. Myth: by co-signing a loan, I am helping a friend or relative. Truth: be prepared to repay the loan. The bank wants a co-signer because they don't expect the person to pay, which is usually 100% true. That's usually what happens. Because what are you teaching the kid? You're teaching the kid that if you want anything and you can't afford it, get it anyway. And you will be the one with the ruined credit. Proverbs 17 verse 8 says, "It is stupid to guarantee someone else's loan," in the CEV version. So myth, another myth. Cash advance, pay down loan, rent to own, title pawning, and top the note, I can't read what I wrote. Top the note, car lots are needed to help lower income people get ahead. The truth is, these are rip-off examples of predatory lending that are designed to take advantage of lower income people and benefit only the owners of the companies making the loans. That's why these are only located in the poor part of town. The rich don't play these games, and that's how they got to be rich people. It's legalized loan sharking, and that's why it's outlawed in Georgia and Alaska, at least at the time of writing that book. Myth. 90 days is same as cash, equals using others' money for free. Truth. 90 days is not the same as cash, and most people don't pay it off in the allotted amount of time anyways. So it digs them deeper into, financial debt and ruin. Another myth. Car payments are a way of life. You'll always have one. Truth. Staying away from car payments by driving reliable used cars is what the average millionaire does, and that's how they became one. Car payment is most people's largest payment except for their mortgage, so it steals more money than anything else. The Federal Reserve says that the average car payment is $495 over 64 months. Most people have car payments their entire life because once one is done, they need, so-called, a new car. If you invested $495 a month from the age of 25 to 65 in the average mutual fund, averaging 12%, the 8-year stock average, you would have $5,881,799.14 at age 65. I hope you like the new car. Some of you had your nose in the air as intellectual snobs when we illustrated how bad rent to own is, but you're doing much worse on your car loans. $495 in your cash jar for 10 months will be $5,000 for a new car. It doesn't need to be your forever car. You will blow your fortune if you insist on having nice cars now that have payments. Another myth. Leasing a car is what sophisticated people do. You should lease things that go down in value and take the tax advantage. The truth. Consumer advocates, noted experts, and a good calculator will confirm that the car lease is the most expensive way to operate a vehicle. The interest is so high. Car leasing is exploding because dealers know it is their largest profit center. We live in a culture that quit asking how much and instead asks how much down and how much a month. Another myth. You can get a good deal on a new car at 0% interest. The truth. A new car loses 60% of its value in the first 4 years. That isn't 0%. Most people can't handle... Okay. Next one. Another thing about credit cards. Most people can't handle a credit card, so don't have one. If you have control and pay it off every month, then it's okay. This is me talking. That isn't in Dave Ramsey's book. But some of us are past Dave Ramsey's teachings, because Dave Ramsey's for, the beginner level, which is perfectly fine. So if you can handle credit cards, that's fine. But 98% of Americans, it feels like, can't. So that's why he advocates cut up your credit card. Most people are in so much credit card debt and have no self-control. You need to get rid of your credit card. The best thing you can do is cut up your credit card. Like literally. That's why he has scissors on the front of his book. To build your credit, besides paying off your credit card debt every month, or by not having one, pay your landlord early or be on time for 2 years. It means you have a history of uninterrupted payments like utility bills, etc. You have been in the same career for 2+ years. You have good down payment, which is more than nothing down. You have no other credit, good or bad. You are not trying to take too big of a loan. 25% of your take-home pay is good. If you do that, you will have good credit score. You don't need to have a credit card for good credit score. So you do not need a credit card. Your debit card will do everything it does without allowing you to get in debt. 60% of people, Card Track says, don't pay off their credit card every month. 60% of people. That means more than half of people don't pay their credit card off every month. Spend cold, hard cash instead, and you will be more responsible. Because most teens, if they're not taught right, will get themselves in a huge mess with a credit card. So if you haven't taught them to be responsible, do not allow them to get one, or they will ruin themselves. No, because a credit card is not free money. It is a loan you must pay back. You are essentially loaning money, getting a loan. And at most colleges, the credit card thing is pushed so hard. There's been teenagers they've found who've gave up on their credit card debt and committed the S word, and were found with, not there anymore, with their bills, their credit card bills right beside them. This is a big thing. So teach your kids. Teach them that if you work, you get paid. If you don't work, you don't get paid, just like the real world. Our children, Dave's talking, put their newly earned money in envelopes labeled spend, save, and give. When a child learns to work, save, spend, and give, the child can... Let's start that again. When a child learns to work, save, spend, and give, the child can avoid the messages that says a credit card equals prosperity. So help them, allocate their money properly in their little envelopes, which we'll talk about in the next book, I think, or my other Dave Ramsey video, book review. And you will raise responsible kids who know how to handle money. So let's go into more myths. Myth: debt consolidation saves interest and you have smaller payments. The truth is, oh man, okay, so here's what I do. Whenever I see debt, I write death. It's really debt consolidation saves interest and you have one smaller payment. The truth is, debt consolidation is dangerous because you only treat the symptoms and you stay in debt, which gets you, even worse off. Another myth: borrowing more than my home's value is wise because I'll restructure my debt. The truth: you are stuck in the house, which is literally so dumb because you can't sell it, even if you wanted to. Another myth: if no one used debt, our economy would collapse. The truth: nope, it would prosper. Bankers and lenders wouldn't, but do you have any tears about that? What would people do if they didn't have payments? They would save and spend, not support banks and make them rich. So debt is not a tool. Your largest wealth-building asset is your income. When you tie up your income, you lose. When you invest it, you can become wealthy and do anything you want. Everyone wants to be rich, healthy, and wise without risking time or money, but that's not how it works. Quick, easy money, there's no such thing. They're all scams. Like when you see the ads out there that are like, make money fast, do this, and make money so easy. It's all a scam, okay? Another myth: everything will be okay when I retire. I know I'm not saving it, but I'll be okay. The truth: the cavalry isn't coming. No one is going to save you. This is your job. You will not be fine. Do you get the picture? And gold as another point. Gold as an investment for hard times doesn't always pan out, so don't bank on it. Gold is not used when economies fail, because what will the other person do with it that you're giving it to? Bartering is what is used in those times. A new government, then rises from the ashes and new paper money or coinage is established. Gold plays a minor role, and the gold investor will be left with the sick feeling that real estate, canned soup, or knowledge would have been a better hedge. But gold, I would say, in another sense is important because from the culture I come from, Indian culture or Middle Eastern, they believe that when a woman gets married, they give her gold jewelry. And that is her insurance. Because if something happens to her husband or she has to leave or something, she has money that she can, just leave on a moment's notice with, which she can pawn or sell and she'll be okay. So I'm not saying gold is bad. This is me talking, not Dave talking. I'm not saying gold is bad, but I think what he's saying is don't think it's going to be your end-all be-all for when you retire or if the economy collapses. Okay. Another point he made is cash value life insurance is one of the worst financial products available, so don't do it. Another myth: playing the lottery and other gambling will make me rich. The truth: lottery is a tax on the poor and people who can't do math. Who do you see in the lottery line? Actually go to a lottery line and look. You see poor people. You do not see the savvy, wealthy, rich people. They'd be there if it was good. Studies show zip codes that spend 4 times what anyone else does on lottery tickets are those in the lower income parts of town. Another myth, mobile homes or trailers will allow me to own something instead of renting, and that will make me wealthy. The truth, trailers go down in value rapidly, making your chance for wealth building less than if you'd rented. If I were to suggest you invest $25,000 in a mutual fund with a proven track record of dropping to $8,000 in 5 years, you'd think I'd lost my mind. So know that mobiles are a lousy purchase. Do not get into them. John Maxwell once said, "A budget is people telling their money where to go instead of wondering where it went." Most people spend more time picking out their clothes than they do planning their retirement or career. Yikes. So take some time and plan this out. See my other 2 Dave Ramsey book review videos, and you'll have all the steps to plan all of this out. And yeah, it's not that difficult, and it's really easy, and you'll be so happy when you're older that you've done it. Another point he made is credit repair companies are scams. And another thing Dave said is, I'm not against the enjoyment of money. What I am against is spending money when you do not have money to begin with. So let's go through more myths and truths. Another myth, my divorce says my spouse has to pay the debt, so I don't. The truth, divorce decrees do not have the power to take your names off of credit cards and mortgages. So if your spouse doesn't pay, be ready to. You still owe. Another myth, that collector was so helpful. He really likes me. The truth, collectors are not your friends. It's because they want your money. You can tell if a collector is lying by if his lips are moving, okay? So any deal or settlement you make with them must be in writing before you send them money. Otherwise, you will find that they lied. Do not give them access to your checking and never send them post-dated checks. Are we clear? Another myth. I'll just file bankruptcy and start over. It seems so easy. The truth. Bankruptcy is a gut-wrenching, life-changing event that causes lifelong damage. Dave's been through it, and he says it is not worth it. Another myth. I can't use cash because it is dangerous. I might get robbed. Truth. You are being robbed every day by not using the power of cash. If you use cash, you spend less, and robbers can't tell you have cash or a maxed out credit card like everybody else does, unless you're acting strange about it. The mismanagement of plastic is robbing you every month. So use the envelope system. Put cash in your envelopes for the budgets. Because credit cards don't register in the brain the same as cash does. So do it. Cash is king. So for your grocery budget or all of those, put the $600 in an envelope. And so when you go to the grocery store, when you run out of $600, you can't buy anything else. It's not like a credit card where you can still get in debt. That's why it works so well. And Dave also says the have term life insurance and a medical savings, have auto insurance and health insurance. Choosing higher deductibles saves on premiums. And do long-term care insurance if you're over 60 for the nursing home. And do not do whole life insurance. That is bad. Don't do it. So now he's giving some life advice of what insurance you guys should have and which ones are not good. And he goes into why in the book, but I don't have time to explain it all. Another myth. If I do a will, I might die. Truth. You're going to die, so do it with a will. Estate planners say 70% of Americans die without a will. What a mess. The state then decides what happens with your stuff. That's dumb. Proverbs 13 verse 22 says in NKJV, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. No one is born knowing about how to handle money. We all must learn. There is nothing taught on how to manage money in school or college, So he says that we get a degree in DUMB. And I just thought that was funny. Your actions should show you care about money by learning something about it. You don't need to go to Harvard and get an MBA on finance. You don't have to watch a channel on money instead of a movie. Just simply read a book on it once a year. Or listen to things like this, like you're doing right now. That shows that you care about money and that you're actually going to do something about it, which most people don't. Another thing, keeping up with the Joneses. The Joneses can't do math. They're in such debt. But it looks good. But if you are 500 pounds overweight, everyone would know. But the thing is being financially flabby is just as big a problem, if not even bigger. Most adults can't face peer pressure and say, we are scaling down, or let's not do gifts this year, or as big of gifts. Or we'll have to pass on that vacation or dinner because it's not in our budget. Most grown-ups succumb to peer pressure. It's time to be mature. Godliness with contentment is great gain. You don't need to be so materialistic. So, step 1 to getting your finances in order. Save $1,000 fast. The power of focus is what makes it work, so you gain traction and actually see yourself winning. First off, have a written budget that you do every month, so you know where every dollar goes. And agree on it with your spouse, because you have to stick to it to work. If an unexpected expense comes up, decrease another part of the budget by the same amount. The number one cause of divorce is money. So if you get that out of the way, just think, that's the number one thing that can make your marriage the best. So things happen, you need a fund. So now he's going through Dave Ramsey's 7 baby steps to financial stability, or I forget what it is, but 7 little baby steps. Step 1, save $1,000 emergency fund. Most people don't have that, okay? So even doing that, you're way ahead of most Americans. Twist and ring the budget. Work extra hours. Sell things. You should hit this in a month. Remember, if the Joneses think you're cool, you're on the wrong track, and they are broke too. If they think that you are crazy, then you're on the right path. So if people are making fun of you for your financial, new strategies, that means you're on the right path. And hide the $1,000 so you don't spend it easy, and replenish it when it's used. Baby step 2, start the debt snowball, paying the smallest debt to the biggest. So you let the momentum of when what is paid off, you put the same amount of money towards the new debt. List all your debts except your home from smallest to largest. It doesn't matter if they have interest or not. If you were so fabulous with math, you wouldn't have debt, so try it my way, is what Ramsey says. Have it on the fridge. Cross them out, as you pay them off with red ink, so that you feel good. You can see yourself accomplishing. And stop borrowing, because God will test you. If you say, okay, I'm not going to borrow anymore, he'll put something in front of you that will make you want to borrow, because he's testing to see if you actually mean your word or not. So mean your word. Stop borrowing. Cut up your credit cards now, at this point. Go right now and go cut them up, if that is one of your problems. And if you have a car or boat you can't pay in 18 to 24 months, sell it. It's just a car. And Ramsey says that when you're married, you're one. So no separate checking accounts, because then you're going to be living 2 separate worlds. And that's not being one. And anyways, he was saying that it takes 18 to 20 months to accomplish. Okay, someone came in and it scared me. Baby step 3, finish the emergency fund. This covers 3 to 6 months of expenses. Women definitely feel more secure with this, whereas guys think, well, money should be doing something, So agree on that and do the 3 to 6 month savings. And, don't wait on this one. And once you've covered the basic steps, the time has come to build wealth. Let me check. I get really self-conscious when someone else is in the room, but they just left. So if you don't have a home yet, start saving for one now. Don't wait. Once you've covered the basic steps, the time has come to build wealth. We want to not just be out of debt, but retire with dignity and especially have some fun. Retirement means security. If you lost your job, will your investments be enough to live on and keep growing? Retirement doesn't necessarily mean you stop working. At this point, find a job or work you love. Don't wait till you're 65. So baby step 4, invest 15% of your income into retirement. 401k, Roth IRAs, etc. Because let's plan out, what will it take to retire? A 12% return, if you get a 12% return, which is what they say the average stock market is, with 4% inflation, we have to take that out. So say we're going with 8%. If you can live off of 8% of your nest egg per year, so if you can live on $40,000, you only need $500,000. It sure beats the 97 out of 100 65-year-olds who can't write a check for $600. It's never too late to start this journey. But if you're over 40, invest now, like starting today. Don't wait till, when I have more money. Because when you were younger, you thought the same thing, and you still haven't started investing, or as much as you should. So definitely start. And baby step number 5, do your kids' college fund. Nobody asks a CPA where, you don't ask your accountant, where did he get his degree? So don't be so fixated on exactly where your kids go to college. Find something cheap and close to home so that they're not spending a whole bunch of money. And baby step 6, pay off your home mortgage. Go for the golden ring. Shorter terms matter. And we'll show this real quick. At a 7% interest rate for a 30 years loan, you'll be paying $1,349 a month, which becomes a $485,000, $636 loan. But at a 15-year fixed rate, you'll be paying $1,899 a month, which is just a little bit more, and you'll be paying a total of $341,762 total loan. That is a $550 a month saving, and saves $143,874 in the entire loan term. So that's really big. And so baby step number 7, build wealth, invest. By reaching that last step here, you have entered into the top 2% of Americans, being totally debt-free and have your retirement built up. We built this so you can have fun, invest, and give. That's what it's all about. So that's what I want to share for today's video. That was all the notes I had from the book. Definitely start putting those 7 steps in practice. And yeah, go be debt-free. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.